I'm Heather from He Booktubes, and today is Motorcycle Club Romance Recommendations, and I really love this trope. I watched Sons of Anarchy, like a bunch of seasons of it, and then I stopped. But my husband watched all of them. I really enjoyed it, so I kind of got familiar with the setting from that, which I know that's not a perfect representation. However, that was my entire background. When I picked up this first book, that was what I pictured in my head. I loved it. So I read them pretty frequently. It can be so hard to find the ones that are right for you. For me, I enjoy the genre as a whole. So when a book is like completely unrealistic to what I think the genre is, then I have a hard time enjoying it, yada yada. So if you're a big fan, hopefully you get something new. If you've never tried Motorcycle Club romances, I love them. If you like romance with suspense or dark romance or any of those sorts of elements, motorcycle ones are probably going to be for you. My first one is the very first Motorcycle Club romance I ever read, and it is Reaper's Property, which is the first in the Reaper's MC series by Joanna Wylde. She's like the OG Motorcycle Club romance author, as far as I can tell. Like when this book came out, I read it way after the fact. I've heard that people are like, this is ridiculous, and she was like, no, I did my research, this really happens. And it's crazy, and I love it so much. Now, if you don't know anything about motorcycle clubs at all, then some of the language might be off-putting for you because like they go by road names, so the main character's name is Horse. You might have issue with that, I don't know. Also, the main character is not familiar with the world at all, and so when she gets offered to be an old lady, which is like the highest honor that they can give you, she didn't want it at all. So just be aware of that going in. So Marie comes in contact with this motorcycle club completely through her brother, who is a loser. He is causing problems in her life, and he brings these guys around. She kind of has a thing for Horse. So when he offers her to be his old lady, she's like, that's so insulting. I'm not old. What are you talking about? So she turns him down. And then her brother ends up owing them a lot of money. A lot of money. And Horse offers to pay the debt if he gets Marie. And so he's not that nice to her. He's not like super awful, not like abusive or anything like that. He's not, but like he bought her for her. So he's not like super nice to her right at the beginning because she turned him down. Like he offered her everything and she was like, no, that's terrible. Why would I want that? So you kind of have to overcome that. But they have like the sweetest relationship for somebody that bought somebody else, and you know, problems. But I love them, and I love all of the side characters who end up getting their own books. I would actually love to do a reread of the series. I liked all of them. Like I liked all of those books. I wish that there would be more, but take what you can get. Next is Own the Wind, which is Chaos #1 by Kristen and Ashley. This comes with a caveat in that this series really starts within another series, which is the Dream Man series by Kristen Ashley. You have Dream Man, and then Motorcycle Man is the romance of the motorcycle club's president, but he is introduced, and they're all introduced in Dream Man, which is the first book in the series. Technically they're standalone, so you can read them, but for the richest experience, you would start with Dream Man, which is not the best book in the series. I still love it, but it's not her best book. Motorcycle Man is about the president, and then Own the Wind, which is the first book in the actual Motorcycle Club series, is about his adult daughter. And so you already have a lot of background of her and her family and the club from those other books in that Dream Man series. So Tabitha is a motorcycle club princess, but she has kind of drawn away from the life. She's engaged and she's moving on with her life. Something happens, and she and Shy, who is part of the motorcycle club, have always had a thing for each other. And that ends up really being a problem for the club. And so it's very interesting, very emotional. This one is a lot of emotions. But I love Kristen Ashley. I love basically everything she writes. And so I cannot not recommend the motorcycle romance series by Kristen Ashley because it's delightful. Next we have Rough Justice, which is the first in the Sinners Motorcycle Club series by Castille. She wrote Against the Ropes, which is like a MMA romance series that I really loved. So when I found out that she had this, picked it up. This is a great series. I'm pretty sure I read every single book that was available. So good. So good. So here we have Ariana, who is an MC princess, but completely different from her last one. Her father is extremely abusive and power hungry and just a dictator. She has made plans for her and her brother to escape. They're both adults though. So she's made plans for them to escape and her brother betrays her. So she goes to try and rescue him and wakes up in the enemy MC clubhouse with Jagger Knight standing up over her, and they are so cute together. There's a lot of trust issues, obviously, because they're from opposite MCs, but I love it. It's great. Enemies to lovers. And I loved her personality and how in a world where women are often not treated the greatest, and she specifically was not treated well by her family. I loved her character and how she acted. I really love both of them. Next we have Rain, which is the first in the Henchmen MC series by Jessica Gadziala, who is also one of my favorite authors. Now, this one I'm gonna give a disclaimer for. So Rain is one of her very first books, and it's one of the first ones in her interconnecting series. So she has many, many series that are all based in the town of Navesink Bank, New Jersey, and they're all tied together. Technically, you can read each and every one of them as a standalone. However, the villains are going to appear in multiple different books. Several of the main characters are going to be in all of the different series. So Rain is the president for the MC, the Henchmen, so he's going to be featured in books about the mafia and about the fixers and about the crazy vigilante militant base. So there's lots of different things. So because of that, you might think that the big bad in this book is crazy and over the top, but this is like a wide arching overlying storyline, and it really makes a lot of sense. So I feel like it makes more sense knowing all the series mention this and deal with it rather than just the standalone had this crazy scenario, if that makes sense. So Rain is driving along on a stormy night and he finds this girl who has obviously run away from something. She's barefoot and she has escaped sex traffickers, and that kind of sets everything in motion. And there are twists and turns that are dealt in this book and also in the overall series. There's a lot of craziness. There's always triggers for the main character's past and the abuse that they face, but it's always done respectfully, and all of the triggers are listed on Jessica's website, and I highly recommend that you read like all of her books. Lastly, I have Never Ever, which is the first in the Perdition MC series by Isabel Wroth. This one has kind of a surprise baby trope, so beware of that. Main character used to be part of the MC lifestyle and has gone away from that, has completely left everything. Her friend wants to go to a party. She decides she will do it this one time. She has a one-night stand, and the guy's a man whore. He is completely taken with this girl, but he honestly just expects her to come crawling back for more, and she doesn't, and it drives him crazy. So 4 months later, their paths cross again, and he discovers the surprise. So he completely changes his ways right at the beginning of the book for the main character, so you don't have to deal with a lot of douchery, but at the very beginning you do have that. But they're a great couple. I thought that they were healthy and sweet, and I read a bunch in the series too, and they're so good. So every single one of these recommendations, I recommend the whole series. They're not going to be crazy, abusive, or violent. The guys are going to treat their girl extremely well. Maybe not at the very beginning, but they will get there way before 90% of the book is over, and that's what I want. Like, you can have a lot of things going on in your world, but I want that guy to be nice to the person that is supposed to be his soulmate. Like, give that to me. I would love to know your recommendations for Motorcycle Club romances. It is quite the genre. I know right at the end of May, I tried 3 different Motorcycle Club romances on my TBR the last night of May, and I DNF'd every single one of them in one night. So that was fun. That was super fun. So yeah, it can be hard to find ones that are your line of what you're comfortable with or what you like. These ones are some of the best. I recommend the whole series of every single one of these. And I would love to know if you have any other recommendations for me, because like I said, it can be really hard to find ones that you love. Thanks, bye.